Good morning and good afternoon, friends. Actually, I don't know why I'm saying good morning. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon when I'm recording this on Thursday, which feels like a Friday. And if we were retired, we wouldn't care. But my name is Mike. This channel is Health and Wealth. We are here today to talk about NVDY. You ain't got an alibi. You're Nvidia. So we're talking about Nvidia. I want to talk about my position in Nvidia, or NVIDIA for those out there. And something I did this morning, you know what? I've been weighing my options over the last couple of weeks. If you've been tuning into every video, thank you so much for being here. I hope you've hit that subscribe button to join along with the rest of the 5,400 individual human beings that have done that too. But you've noticed I've been weighing my options. The options are, do I pay off debt or do I spend more on investing? And I've been leaning heavily towards paying off debt. So today I did it. This morning in the pre-market, there was a report on CNBC talking about how we could see all-time lows in the S&P 500, that this might be a false rise in the market, that there could be all-time lows in the QQQs. And I'm going to play that for you near the end of this video. So that got me thinking, with my Nvidia, I'm already up big time. So I got into it at $88. Today it was at $133. I said I'm going to hold it to 170, but that report right there, and plus my own feelings of maybe this market isn't really set to take off with all of the debt that we have in the US, with all of the tariff talk, the wars in India, Russia deploying 600,000 more soldiers, with Trump, unpredictable Trump, with interest rates not going down, just so many factors. And then this story comes out. For me, I thought, you know what, this is a good time to lock in profit and pay off that debt. And I've done just that. I am now debt-free when it comes to line of credit, credit cards, anything like that. I still got a mortgage, still got a car payment, right? But these are kind of static. That's what we're used to paying. And then, but I've gotten rid of all debt. So what's that good for? That helps me whenever the paycheck comes in next Friday, I can go and invest that. I'm excited about that. Before, what I was doing was I was just paying off the line of credit every pay, right? Transfer day, transfer day, transfer day. We're done. No more transfer day. Unless I go out tonight. I just returned my bicycle to Costco because it wasn't good enough. Just so you guys know, the mountain bike at Costco, not good enough. Went trail riding hard with it, and like the pedal almost started falling off. My knees were hitting the handlebar, so I returned it. So, oh man, I can't even believe I'm saying this. I might go out and buy another bike tonight, but it's going to be $300 more. But it's going to be a bike that I'm going to keep for the next 20 years, hopefully, and it will be deserving of trail riding. So today, when I sold my NVDA shares, I sold enough to incorporate that extra $300 I was going to spend tonight. So I sold 16 shares of Nvidia. It brought in $2,900. I don't know. You guys tell me the math. I sold it at around $134 a share. And I ended up selling it in the post-market, not the post-market, like during the market, not the pre-market. And man, did I have just the weight of the world lifted off my shoulders. Woof. I was like, wow, this is so good. Now I can go out and invest, do whatever the heck I want. I'm not sitting here restricted to just paying off debt. So I was so happy that I was able to do that. Life is good. This video, I want to talk about what are we going to be expecting next week. This time next week, most of us should have money from NVDY in our bank accounts, or our brokerage accounts, I should say. Not me, because I'm with Questrade in Canada. They take the tax out. It comes in on Saturday, which is totally useless. But I'll get mine on Monday. But next Monday, not this Monday, next Monday. But I wanted to go over the numbers with you because they're looking really good, okay? So I've gone ahead and I've got a whole bunch of screens open here. I know I'm frozen, but now I'm back. Hello. Did you guys miss me? Here's NVIDIA right here. $134. Now, like I just told you, I had been waiting. I've been waiting. You know that song? If you change the word from girl to squirrel in any of the songs in the world, trust me, your life is gonna get better. Try it out for me, okay? Squirrel to do the dishes. You know that one? Oh man, it's Thursday. I'm feeling the long weekend. It's right there. But yeah, I bought Nvidia at $88. I bought 16 shares at 88 bucks, so I definitely locked in roughly 500-ish dollars worth of profit, and that was just over a month ago that happened. So yeah, I'm very happy with that for sure. So Nvidia trading at $134. I still got my NVDA shares, and I actually bought some more yesterday. So that's really good. NVIDIA here, $16.76. Yesterday, I was able to. The craziest thing happened. All of a sudden, you guys talk about taxes all the time. For me, in Canada, in a tax-free savings account, they just take 15% out of every single American ETF or dividend-paying or distribution-paying stock or ETF out there. Gone before I even get it. Wow. Well, yesterday I had 250 bucks sitting in my account. So I asked, "What is this?" It was a refund because they took too much tax. So they gave it back, which is really cool. And yeah, so I spent it on Nvidia yesterday. So I bought 12 shares of Nvidia, which I thought was pretty awesome. Pretty awesome indeed. So we'll go over my numbers here coming up here. But Nvidia 1677. What's not awesome is that share price compared to what we bought it at. But if you look at over the last 5 days, up almost 9%. So that makes me really happy. That's even with today's dip there. I went to YieldMax's website and I went cruising around on this thing here. $1.51 billion in AUM, which just means like that's how much of our money is in this fund that they get to play with. It's like at the sandbox, right? They charge us almost 1% to play with our money, which is nice. And here's a list of all of their distributions. If you're ever curious about how much they've paid out in the past, they've paid out their shareholders one time through. So if you're, way back here, you got in around April, May of 2023 for 20 bucks, you've been paid back at least one time, and it might be two times already. It's getting close, if not. Pretty awesome stuff. Let's go to my sheet here. This is my NVDA sheet. I'm going to update this next week for you. Actually, I'll probably do it, and I'll end up doing it next Monday. Not Monday, but the Monday after. But right now, I've been in NVDA for 14 months. My total investment into NVDA is $9,605. That's the big boy dollars right there. That's my biggest fund at the moment. I don't really want to put any more money into it, but I might even the number up a little bit here. So my total distributions received so far in NVDA in American dollars is $4,613. Now that's with today's conversion rate from US to Canada, Canada to US. And that means I have an unrealized gain of 48%. The reason I'm saying unrealized, I haven't taken that money out. I left it in there. 48% in 14 months. You got to be happy with that. Yeah, you got to be happy with that for sure. And so I've been adding money to this all along. It's not like I just put a lump sum of 9,600 into it, but I've been adding a little bit here and a little bit there, which is good. I now have 348 shares of NVDA. Yeah, maybe I'll bring it to 350, or who knows, maybe I'll bring it to 400. We'll see. Average price though is $27.60. So if I keep buying right now, you can see the price below. Right now at the recording of this video, it's at $16.77. So if I keep buying, I'm going to lower my average cost here. My unrealized loss is $3,765. I haven't sold this yet, and I don't really plan on selling it, but I am what's the word? Fluid. I'm able to do whatever the heck I want with my money. Nobody's going to tell me what to do. But yeah, there you go. 3,765 down in share price so far. But let's be clear. Those distributions at 46.13, they've gone out. They've been dispersed out into the world to either pay off debt or to pay into other distributions or other ETFs like Misty, like Coney. They probably bought Nvidia, things like that, right? So that's where that money is gone, and I've used it, right, which is awesome. So here's my passive account. I've actually loaded it up. I didn't load it super accurately here. I loaded it from February of last year to this year. So you can kind of see I had Tesla until March, and then in April here is when I joined the NVDA team. So April of a year ago, by the way. So this is April of a year. Is it May? So I guess I haven't been with it for 14 months. That's like 13 months. Let's call it 13 months. Okay, so 702, 297. Oh my god, I totally lied to you. 647 from Nvidia in month one. Month two, 297. $608, 795. Anyways, I'm not going to read out all of these to you, and it hasn't paid out yet this month. But down below here, I've just put my mouse over top. I've earned 6,441 Canadian dollars. You know, the colorful money. That's the one I've earned. So I just converted that for that Excel sheet for you guys. But yeah, it's been a really, really good payer so far. I've been quite happy with it. I actually have this spreadsheet open. I just kind of put it together right now for you guys. I know that a lot of you kind of find this interesting, how Nvidia makes its money. Nvidia. Let's rewind 10 seconds. Nvidia makes its money. So they make their money on two different ways, right? They make they make their money for us. How they make their money is our money going in and they take a percentage. But how do we get money out of this, right? So they do these synthetic options. They're highlighted by the deep green, the darker green right here. They also do weekly calls. These are highlighted by the lighter green. And then they also do these things called credit call spreads, which are highlighted in orange. And so I'm actually just going to see if I can zoom in just a touch here. And we can see we have two synthetics here. Both of them are closing on July 18th. So we got a long ways to go. That is 2 months and 3 days from today. So a long ways to go on that one. So I'm gathering they probably already closed the synthetic for this upcoming payment. So that's good. And they're 110 and 120. Now, I've been punched in the head too many times. I got to go look at the NVIDIA stock here. I used to play hockey, just so you know. That's why I say that. Anyways, $134 is the current share price. And right now we're at 110, 120. What makes me a little nervous is the economy. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. It's 2 months away, right? We'll see how it goes. But yeah, right now we're crushing that. And so they earned a ton of money over here in this column over here. Let me just kind of read this to myself. Oh man, that's a lot of numbers in a row. Okay, so the first one's $11,416,453. Insane. The second one is $24,095,914. Holy smokes, that's incredible. That is a absolute monster of a receivable of income. How are we going to make money from that? Well, we want Nvidia's share price to be over the 110 and the 120 by July 18th. Okay, pretty cool. Easy enough so far. Gray stuff, boring stuff, treasury. That's where they kind of put a little bit of money in to garner us some interest while the money sits in there. And this is like long-term holds in here. Although, I mean, May 15th, that's coming up. It's today, June 12th. August, November. Yeah, so you can kind of see long dates in there. Let's go to the green stuff here. This is the fun stuff. These are your weeklies. For the weeklies, we want our share price of Nvidia to be underneath these, right? So again, let's open it up one more time here. So right now it's at $134. Well, the first one is $133. That's bad, right? So they would have to close this. They probably are closing it today. To be honest with you, they usually do these things on Thursdays. 134 also bad. Now the thing with this is that they're going to close it. It's not going to cost them too much money because it's basically bang on. But it is still, let's call this $9,291,000. They're probably going to have to spend some of that $9 million that they earned to close this as well. Next one, 136. So far we're pretty good with that, and that made $6 million, right? And we'll talk about the total numbers down at the bottom in just a second here. They also had two credit call spreads sitting right here. These are all closing tomorrow officially, but again, they like to close these today on Thursday, and these cost money. I've added all of that up. Kind of a weird thing. They put another call down here at 140, so we're pretty safe with that. You know what? That could have been added like today as an example, or yesterday as they like to do this, and I actually love that they do this. They start writing these calls kind of midweek, just to kind of garner some more income. Take a drink every time I say garner in this video. Couple more credit call spreads here. 141, 145. So we're not hitting those yet. We're not hitting these yet either. Although I do like that they're pretty close to the share price right now, which means that maybe they could be triggered and actually make us some money. And then that's it. So let's go take a look at how much that actually earned us. So from the lighter green stuff with the minus signs next to us, that brought in $25,415,885 for the week. Right, for the week. Now remember, the top two, let's go back up here, they're gonna have to close these two right here, which is gonna take some of the money out of that $25 million. Now the 7 million down here, 7,592,000 was a plus, so we had to pay to open these. These are those insurance, those credit call spreads. So the net total was 17,823,800. Now this isn't looking at all of the numbers. This is just looking at what we can see in front of us here. This isn't recording if they made any changes throughout the week, but it gives us kind of a ballpark idea of the kind of income that they can make with these options with our money in their fund. And I like it. I like our odds of having a pretty darn good distribution next week from Nvidia. So Wednesday's the announcement. Thursday is the X distribution day, which means you have to have your money in on by Wednesday. 8 p.m. Eastern, and then Friday is payday for most people out there. So yeah, I'm liking our odds. Let's go over $1 again, right? Let's get over $1 again. I was trying to harness my Donald Trump right there. Let's make dollar great again, right? So 67, 78, and then $1.61. So, you know, let's get up there. Let's go $1.50, right? And I like to undersell, hopefully over deliver. So I'm always predicting less. I'm going to predict $1.25. What do you guys think? $1.25 is my prediction. I've got one more video for you to watch. This is the thing that tipped me off this morning. The reason I sold those 16 shares of Nvidia to clear out my debt. Enjoy. I'm going to change the volume as we go here just to make it a little bit better for you, okay? And we'll talk about it at the end. Here we go. Actually, here we go.
What the charts are telling us about the markets right now. Joining us is Katie Stockton, Fairlead Strategies, a founder and managing partner and a CNBC contributor. It's probably rebounded faster and further than even you were thinking, I guess, Katie, at this point. Some people that are pretty smart are saying we go to new lows, and I'm thinking of Ken Griffin, I think, said that. I don't know, maybe since that China deal, maybe he's changed, but Steve Cohen just yesterday saying that. Is it petering out here, this rebound?
I think we're close. We've obviously seen a very massive relief rally, and it's been broad-based. And yet within the next week or so, we are expecting signs of short-term upside exhaustion. And that is from the DeMark indicators that are very widely used amongst the folks that you mentioned, in fact. So we are looking for short-term exhaustive indications here in the very near term. And that goes not only for the S&P 500, the NASDAQ 100, but also the ratios of things like growth to value, technology to the broader market. So the areas that have exhibited upside leadership during the relief rally should now flip very quickly to exhibiting downside leadership. So we are in that camp where we could see a new low relative to the April low. And we say that because on the monthly charts, there's been a really significant loss of long-term upside momentum. And we still have those counter trend signals that we've been talking about for a while, since November, December, that are active through about year end. So we think that we're in the midst of a bear market cycle and that this is a violent but very welcome relief rally.
Yikes. So new lows on the S&P are that's frightening enough, but on the NASDAQ, which is in a bull, or was up 24% or something from the lows. So that would be a turnaround. That would be a loss of how much in the NASDAQ to hit new lows, Katie?
Yeah, I mean, definitely more than double digits for sure. And so with that kind of decline, obviously people want to think about managing risks. So we're very sort of attuned to the short-term metrics. What we're watching for specifically are for the moving averages, like the 20-day moving averages to roll over. That's usually an indication to reduce your exposure. When the stochastics, which measure overbought, oversold readings, roll over, that's another indication. When the VIX comes off of its lows meaningfully, that would be another risk metric. So those are the triggers in our work to reduce exposure. So we're getting close to that. And we'd start with the higher beta stocks that have driven the relief rally. That doesn't mean you go bring your equity exposure to zero. We do actually already have those signs of exhaustion in most European equity markets. So that's been an area of the global equity markets that has really outperformed. And so that's where we're first seeing those sell signals. And because the support levels are now so far away, even initial support for the S&P 500 is now about 6% below current levels, which doesn't create a great risk reward, with final resistance about 4% above. So we're in the situation where there's a good amount of room to support.
Well, we got to come up with some new names, I think. You're not saying that the NASDAQ is going, it's in a bull market, now it's going to go back into a bear market. So it was a bull market, went into a bear market, now it's a bull market, it's going back into. Everything we're seeing right now is a relief rally in a bear market to you, and the NASDAQ will enter another bear market soon.
So yeah, and we measure bear and bull cycles using our long-term indicators, things like the monthly MACD indicator, a very common trend following device. That'll help us know whether we're in a bear or bull cycle. We do believe that we're in a secular bull trend. So that's the good news. On the back of this bear cycle, we should have this great buying opportunity, and we expect that to occur sometime this year. However, for now, I think there's still some downside risk, as mentioned, and that is supported by those monthly MACDs, which are telling us that even with the relief rally, that we're still in a bear cycle.
Bitcoin seems correlated to high beta stocks at this point. Will that continue?
Yeah, so we think so. It's certainly not acting just like gold, especially of late. We've had a nice relief rally also in Bitcoin alongside equities as gold has pulled back. So we are seeing it more correlated to the NASDAQ 100 right now, and that means people are treating it as a risk asset. And we think appropriately so. We have a neutral long-term bias on Bitcoin. It's obviously entered a trading range. Resistance is somewhat close to current levels within that range. So we're not active buyers, but we do think that Bitcoin has a place in a portfolio, a very small place perhaps at this time, even with a neutral long-term bias. We like the diversification that it can lend at times. Place.
But I'm not a financial advisor, right? Like that person is right there. So, I kind of took that and I was like, outweigh the positives and the negatives. And the positive is I'm stress-free now. I have no more debt. I can take whatever I want and I can invest it. And I mean, I made profit on the Nvidia. So I feel really good. If Nvidia goes back down in the early hundreds or the 88, I'm going to do it again, right? I'm going to do it again. I think this time I'm going to do more though. Yeah, I'm going to take out more debt. If it gets to $88, I'm buying more this time around. So yeah, I felt really good about that purchase. But yeah, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I'm really happy that you're still here. If you're still here, high five to you. Big props to you. Thank you so much for being such a loyal subscriber to my channel, hitting the like button and sharing this video with your friends. If you found any value at all and you want to become a member, I'd love to have you with the other 12. By the way, the 12 of you, thank you so much for everything you do for myself and my family. I hope you have a wonderful night, everybody. My name is Mike. This is Health and Wealth. Bye for now.